Sweet. You
No.
got it. Long time no see here. Hold on. Let me close my door real quick. Nice. That was a good swing.
Oh, it's been so long, bro.
How are you doing?
I'm I'm great. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm doing pretty well. Are you going to India by chance?
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, like, I had like about 5 seconds that I was really seriously considering it. And even went through the application and then got to the questions about health. And first of all, I'm still immigrating to my new country.
Go.
Not, yeah, Portugal is not super easy or conducive for me to leave and travel internationally at the moment. Also, I have no money, but of course could probably fundraise if I really wanted to go. But
Hmm.
then it was like the health questions, on all the questions on the courses. And it's like, how's your health? And I'm like, it's not great. Like it would really be difficult to go to India. I would not want to put myself through that. On one hand, it would be amazing, and I'm sure the bliss and the joy and the love and just the vibes would override because that happens. Like joy is a very potent painkiller. I've been
Hmm.
really noticing the last few days, especially because I was in so much pain. I've had a lot of physical pain and things, and just walking and carrying suitcases, just walking, like walking, period, has been difficult because I traveled for about 7 months last year.
Yeah.
And I've just had a lot of physical pain for a variety of reasons. So it's not super appealing to me. Also, I'm no long, I mean, I, how should I say this? I love my TM practice.
Yeah.
I am forever. I'm all in on the knowledge and the techniques. But, I'm doing other stuff, doing my thing, being
Yeah.
me, all that. And, sometimes,
Yeah. No, I hear that.
yeah,
You're living your life. That's
I'm
what we
living
want.
my damn life.
I saw an opportunity to go to India with a bunch of good people I know. And I was like, I've never been to India. Good as an excuse as any.
Kudos to you and power to you. Lord knows we need a little bit of coherence and peace in the world right now.
Yeah. Would be nice.
It's not just like the last couple months, it's all the time in the world. There's just so much that is so overwhelmingly, I don't want to use the word bad, but overwhelming. And there's a lot of positive change and transformation that I believe is
Yeah.
needed. Could happen, could happen. We've seen it happen before.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. So obviously I'm hopeful and I wouldn't put so much energy and time into this trip if I wasn't. And I'm just surrendering, learning to faithfully surrender to whatever is. So like whatever happens in India. In this case, we wouldn't say it stays in India.
No, the idea is that that peace and coherence gets radiated out into the world and spreads those good vibes and that energy and creates less crime, more positive thinking, better relationships between people, humans, political parties, countries. And there's so much war and crime and conflict. It's easy to look at the state of the world and just be like, yeah, like there's no way out of this. It just seems so impossible. And I think it's so easy for most people to just say, well, I'm just gonna, do my job and pay my bills and keep my head low and just, plug on with a life that otherwise kind of means, it's just living life, simple. Sometimes I wish it were that easy for me, but it's like I feel like a lot of us that have had access to some experience that allows the typical boundaries and limitations to dissipate so that we can experience and see things a little bit differently and have a little bit of hope and clarity and understanding that, that some level of peace is possible, and surrendering, like you said, is really a big part of that. no matter what path you're on, no matter who you are, no matter how long you've been meditating, no matter how long you sit in meditation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't surrender and just accept what is, there's always going to be suffering and misery.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes I think what I've experienced with transcendental meditation or spiritually is kind of like universal somehow, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like we are all kind of on the same page, more or less. We've all drunken the same Kool-Aid, you know, certainly the rhetoric we've all consumed. And I'm just curious because I see such a variety of things from people whose experiences haven't allowed them to surrender to, for example, in this case specifically, you know, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's programs, Transcendental Meditation, TM-Sidhis, the yogic flying techniques for creating any kind of change or experience on any level for the individual or the world as a whole. My experience, I assume sometimes that more people have had similar experiences. What's been yours in terms of your personal transformation or real validation that
Yeah.
it's real?
Yeah. I think with TM initially it was just like the awareness that I still had a lot more anxiety left. That was just the degree of awareness that came with the TM helped me to see how powerful it was. Like just I didn't realize how self-aware. I mean, because I think that the presumption was I was already self-aware, right? Like not like it's a maybe at the time I had this sense that it's like a place you arrive at, but now obviously I know it's really more of a process. But to become aware of things that I thought I already worked through, I was like, wow, this is really humbling. And with the cities, I noticed like a little bit of a storm around the time that I did it. And whether that's like karma working itself out or I don't really know exactly what, it was obvious that I was clearly doing something big in my life because I could see it, the storm in different aspects of my life, kind of like indicating something was going on. And then over the course of time, I've definitely found ease in the things that I want to pursue. So like I can have like thoughts or desires, and it's like just way simpler to get to them to manifest. And I don't even think about it. I just kind of believe it's going to be the case anyway. And so, I mean, this is a very good example. I mean, I had an idea that I was going to India. I held the desire in my heart, and so many people were getting their tickets and visas and all that. And I didn't have anything until the day before Thanksgiving. I was talking to my buddy, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to be going to India." I said, "Oh, cool. Like, I want to go too, but I don't have my flight or I haven't paid for the course or anything." He's like, "Yeah, me neither." I said, "Okay, well, we could just do it all together, and then we could like get on the same flight." He's like, "Yeah, let's do it," and that's what we did. And it was like literally like that. And I couldn't justify the expense. I mean, I thought it was going to be like maybe $1,000. Came out closer to like four. So I was like, "Oh God, I gotta do."
4,000.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta do some liquidating. So
That's why you just moved. That's part of it.
yeah, exactly. I just turned my place back into an Airbnb, which I tend to do nowadays, several months out of the year. And that's going to cover like half or, a third of the trip, third to half, somewhere in there. MIU gave me a scholarship that I applied for. I raised a little money for some friends and family. And between that and my own humble contributions, like it's going to work. So it feels really good to kind of pay myself back for that already rather than waiting on coming back and having this drag at the beginning of the year, starting off $4,000 more in the hole than I had anticipated because I just didn't plan this in. So
I mean, it's such a great start to the year. Last year I did a TM Transcendental Meditation retreat in, is it Rendlesham in the United Kingdom, just a little bit northeast of London, right? I went to the Peace Palace there and Raja Peter Warburton, I think is his last name, but Raja Peter is amazing. And just that building and the facility. And I was working for Maharishi Foundation International at the time. And so, it was just a lot, like my lifestyle was a lot more conducive to doing retreats.
Sure.
But that's been my entire adult life since 1998. I worked for organizations involved in the teaching of transcendental meditation. And although I'm no longer doing that, like I've said at the beginning, I'm a huge lover and supporter of the programs because I've seen and felt them work so many times over and over and over again in my life. And like what you're describing, this, things just sort of coming together. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful way to ring in the new year. And that's so great that you're going to be there. You're going to have an incredible, incredible time. I know.
Thank you. Yeah, it's part of my annual tradition as well to do something like a TM retreat, like I did. I've been going to Purusha. Maybe you remember that at the end of the year, and I would have done that if it wasn't for this.
Yeah, and I don't know who's going to see this, but like we're talking about the college. We both went to the same college and met there on campus at Maharishi International University, which is in Fairfield, Iowa. And there's a spiritual community full of a lot of meditators and a lot of people from different spiritual traditions, because since the Maharishi Transcendental Meditation Organization sort of landed and, set up camp in this small town in the middle of nowhere, in the 70s, a lot of different gurus and spiritual traditions have also been attracted to that energy and that vibe there. And Purusha, there's programs where you can do long, long hours of meditation. And I did that when I was in college through Maharishi International University. And it seems maybe counterintuitive that you're going to sit and close your eyes for hours a day and have any kind of positive impact. It looks like you're not doing anything, right? It might
Yeah,
sound, or for some people, maybe it is escapism, but it can seem and look and feel like nothing, but you're accessing such deep levels of our human existence and these levels of energy and creativity and intelligence that guide, maintain, uphold the entire universe. And so I love that feeling. I've had that experience many times too, where it's like I have nothing, but there's this little idea that I want to do this course or retreat, and I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. How is this going to happen? And it's like the manifestation when you're, doing something it's just like your soul wants it, the universe wants it for you. It's just like it just happens, and it is so effortless. It's so easy, and that's one of the beautiful things about TM and transcendental meditation that I've experienced, and maybe a lot of people haven't experienced that. I have to also accept that there are people who might see things differently, whether they've even
sure.
done TM or not. And this is, like this group in India, like it has the potential to really change things. And there are also many groups that have been doing things like this. There are so many, just even spiritual influencers like Aaron Dowdy or Brian Scott or Matthias DiStefano or Aubrey Marcus, or like there's just endless through the internet and social media. And there are people with legit knowledge and techniques and power and passion that are actively transforming
Yeah,
themselves in the world. And this is so cool that like I feel like sometimes it's easy when you're in a place like Fairfield. It seems like, okay, we're the only ones doing anything for the world. And maybe because of years without internet and technology and communication and information, that may have been the case. Who knows? It certainly boosted, it certainly laid the foundation for a lot of
yeah,
people to benefit in ways that they might not even see or feel, to have thousands of people coming together and meditating together in this space for decades now.
yeah, exactly. That's exciting. I'm not the type of person who believes that there aren't other spiritual communities contributing or anything like that. It's just this is how I've gotten here, and this is me doing my part. And I just hope that everyone does their part in whatever way that is. And whether that's people, because I believe in the broader drama of life, I do believe some people are going to be, on the front lines of a war and they're going to play out that karma. I do believe some people will be then the victims of that proxy war, and some people will be whatever, everyone has their part to play. And I've narrowly escaped being in the military. Probably narrowly escaped being maybe the victim of like some sort of civil war. Although I don't know that to be true, I do know that my parents moved me from Ethiopia at an early age, and that one of the fears that they had was that a conflict on the borders would move in
That has been
closer. So
happening for now, how many years? I don't,
exactly.
a long time.
So I mean, yeah, I mean this is a reality for most people who don't live in the Western world. Just even how much has been highlighted by the Israel-Palestine Hamas conflict. And if you were someone in Gaza or someone in Israel, how you grew up, not just prepared for, but anticipating attacks from the other side, that's a very different world. So if I can help that world become more chill, and just like have people live more normal lives as a result of doing something like experiencing self-knowledge, what have you, great. This is just my part. I do intend to go deep and then act from there. So I don't think this absolves us of any actions. And I am pretty active already, as you know. But I'll just keep being active. And I like every year when I go into these retreats, I come out feeling like whatever, $1 million. I guess nowadays that's probably not enough currency. $1 billion.
Depends on which currency you're talking about.
Yeah.
A million naira is very different from a million
Yeah.
dollars or
Good for you that you know about Naira.
well, working with, I'm doing this whole thing with a lot of different Afrobeats artists, so I'm constantly in communication with people in Nigeria, which,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have my own ties to Nigeria too. My brother-in-law's from there. Some of my nieces are from there. And I have this closet stand-up career, which is not a real thing. But if I had it, my first stand-up bit would be about my confused identity, like am I black, am I Ethiopian, am I African American? And that's all a backdrop for like I really want to be Nigerian. So, you know, hopefully on the stage at some point soon.
I was listening to somebody talk with Oprah, and she was saying that, she's not African American. Is it what is the girl? She was on the Cosby Show, Raven something anyway. And she was saying she wasn't African American, and Oprah was like, "Whoa, don't ever let anyone, don't ever let anyone hear you say that."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm anyway. This identity and the confusion, though. I mean, like, I'm so confused about everything all the time because, the world, like because we do have so much exposure to so many different opinions and people and viewpoints and cultures and like everything. It's just so we're inundated in a way that we have access to these different opinions and viewpoints and lifestyles and cultures that in a way, like, before you really had to have a passport and money to travel the world. Now you can flip through your phone and in 5 seconds see people from 10 different countries. But we're still seeing like there's just so much division, there's so much hate, there's so much, in some ways, similarity and universality, but there's just a lot of conflict. And I feel like this is why you're going to India, right? Is what happens and the experience with transcendental meditation, at least. But just again, want to sort of clarify, it's like I feel that there are many, many ways to create and cultivate peace in our own awareness and our own lives. And I've been through a significant amount of trauma and loss and grief and the last few years. And transcendental meditation has always been a really amazing way that and still, even it's like I've been crying so much this week, and I sit down and I do my TM, and it's like, okay, things just sort of settled down, and I feel a little bit of peace and love. And I really, like, sometimes look at how much crazy stuff I've been through in my life, and then, well, what has kept me going and what has kept me at least somewhat as the little shred of stability and sanity that I have, which, granted, is not much.
Yeah.
The minuscule amount that I have, I can largely credit to my regular practice of meditation and sitting with myself. And I do energy work, and I feel the whole flow of energy and everything that's going on in myself and in others and in the world, if I put my attention and allow my attention and, awareness to perceive that. And it's a lot, and and it can be quite overwhelming. But the beauty of this with transcendental meditation, like closing the eyes and putting the attention in, and you just settle into, I mean, I remember so clearly, even though I started meditating when I was 4 years old and had the experience on and off throughout my childhood, but as a teenager, after hitting rock bottom and living on the streets, like I just remember going into that first meditation after many years, and it was just like a wave of peace and love and just peace. And that is priceless. And to have access to that, because a lot of people don't ever have access to it
Yeah.
for whatever reason. They don't even have to be in a war-torn part of the world
Right.
to not experience peace. And I mean, what always really strikes me is how many people do come from war-torn parts of the world and are
Yeah.
so peaceful and loving, no matter
Yeah.
what.
No,
And
really, it's,
hmm?
yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, so this experience of peace that we have when we meditate, and I mean, I know you know this, but I don't know who's going to watch this or listen to this because it might seem like, well, what's the point of going to India and how's that going to affect the Middle East, right? Because
Yeah.
they're two totally different places. Like you're not there, you've got to be out in the streets, and people are out on the streets and people are taking action, and it's like nonstop, which is great. And we need many different approaches. But if that feeling of division and fear and hatred, and also whatever the motivation is for violence and terrorizing and trying to kill off and wipe out another culture, civilization, take over the land. I mean, we've seen this over and over, and there's nothing new under the sun here. Okay, this place has resources. We want those resources. These people are useless. Let's get rid of them. This is the root of a lot. This limited thinking that our resources can only come from this one source, or that we have to fuel the world with coal or oil or whatever, when there's actual technology that could completely source the entire planet with energy and resources for free and without any negative impact on the planet. There are technologies that exist and have been developed and are available to us. There's infinite potential and creativity and solutions that is available to us when our consciousness is expanded enough to listen to, comprehend, and receive information that might not otherwise be obvious on the surface. Because we think, well, the only way I can power my car is if I go to the gas station. And so I've got to have oil and I've got to have this and this and that. But there are so many other possibilities. There are so many other possibilities and ways for people to succeed and make money that doesn't destroy themselves and their societies and the planet that we live on, that we all live on. So, sorry, I'm getting really off tangent here, but the point is, but with meditation, you're enlivening this field of consciousness, and that experience of peace, it radiates out from us just
Yeah.
like a light bulb. And so it goes through, and there's been study after study after study on this, right? Like you and I know, because we've seen, heard, read over and over and over again about the
Yeah.
scientific research on the effects of this. And actually, people are talking about it. People are talking about the Maharishi effect by name. Aaron Doughty, I don't know if you follow him, but big influencer. People are referencing the Maharishi effect by name.
That's great.
It's really great. And then some people just say the meditation effect. So this is not like totally a foreign concept for a lot of people. Like these are things that have been researched, demonstrated over and over and over again. You and I both know probably a lot of people who've been part of these big demonstrations, like 7,000 people that have come together to reduce crime rate in Washington, D.C. in the summer, or reduce tensions in the Middle East, and who, sat there and meditated while buildings next to them were getting bombed. We've seen this over and over again, but we've also not had groups creating this peaceful influence, this Maharishi effect on a permanent basis. Now, my own personal feeling is like, it's really potent and it's really powerful. It's kind of like giving a shot of steroids. You know, like you're blasting in this love and coherence. But this is also the other thing, like love.
Mm,
Anyone can experience love. And this is what unites us. This is
mm,
what breaks down the division. So love and coherence, whether it's in the heart, the mind, wherever it's coming from, is really, really, really important. I just rambled on for a while. I don't know if there's anything that you want to say.
no problem. No, there's not anything specific there other than that. I like how you said everyone can love, and similarly, everyone can access that place in themselves that helps them to stay centered, And I think that's the beauty of like TM. I was like, oh, this is so easy. I couldn't believe how easy it was. In fact, I was confused about how easy it was.
Yeah,
And
most people are. I taught TM in Los Angeles for many years, and a lot of
yeah,
people just complicate the heck out of
uh,
everything.
well, there's no way it's this
It can't
easy.
be this simple.
Yeah, because then I think it's the sense that you've been lied to all along.
Yeah.
Like, if it was this simple, then why did everything have to get so complicated? And of course, there's many responses or reactions to that.
It is really simple. It is really simple. And also sometimes quite difficult with some of the trauma that I've experienced. It's like it used to be a lot more simple. And then I didn't sleep for like many months, and I was like, oh, things really hurt, and it's not, so it doesn't feel as easy to feel the bliss, but it can come in many ways, and it doesn't have to come with our eyes closed. It can come through a hug, a handshake, somebody just
Yeah,
sitting and looking at you and listening and just showing some respect and kindness and compassion. It's so simple, actually.
yeah. Oh, it really is. I try to remind myself that every day. Like, it's really easy to get carried away and take everything so seriously, take ourselves so seriously. And so what are we doing? Like, for what? You know?
Or even spirituality. I mean,
Yeah,
everything, everything,
especially spirituality.
especially the spirituality, right? Like,
Yeah.
I actually get really pissed off. Like, why do you make it look so boring?
Yeah.
Why you gotta have this like tightly clenched thing around this idea that, being spiritual has to look or feel or sound a certain way, and it really comes down to joy. For me, that's the thing. And however you can find that. And it
Yeah.
might just be through like some really silly stuff oh, bro, bro.
Mm,
I have seen you throw the F down on the dance floor.
yeah.
And this is what, for me, this is huge. It's a lot.
Yeah. Dancing is huge.
Yeah. And having fun. And
Oh,
I I got your number is what I'm saying.
yeah. I was hoping to come out there sooner than later, but it looks like I'll be a little more delayed because I got India first and a couple other trips. But I'll get out there. I'd love to come see you in the entirety of the expat community.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The dance parties here, I mean, in general, but also like in Fairfield, man, I had some good times,
Yeah.
That was really significant for me. And that's really how I got into the Afro beats was, a lot of Ethiopian students hanging out in my house every weekend listening to Afro beats, and
Yeah.
I just felt this strong pull to work with some Nigerian artists, and that's happened. And I had a really great experience a few weeks ago. Anyway, I'm still editing a series and I'm about to launch. I don't want to get too off tangent, but
No
but
worries.
the dancing and music it has always been a big part of healing and joy. And again, however you can find the ecstatic dance scene here in Portugal is also phenomenal. But yeah, that would be amazing. There have been a few MIU peeps rolling through Portugal recently, but I didn't see any of them. I just have one friend, Brendan, who who lives here in Lisboa, but a few people, other people came through. And anyway, it's fun. Yeah, that would be dope. I
Yeah.
mean, I like, I know that everybody's going to be so focused and blissed out when they're in India and just like doing their thing and meditating and rounding and doing the yogic flying, which is so, so, so powerful. But, and I don't know how the connection is going to be, but I would also love to do some just like quick little check-ins or lives or convos with, you know, a group of y'all on the ground there in India. That would be so fun. And I think that it would be amazing if we had, you know, really strong, solid digital online group activity while that was happening, because this is, you know, one of the cool things. I mean, I've experienced group meditations by Zoom that have been really powerful when I was working with
Sure.
MFI. And, you know, again, Aaron Dowdy, all these people doing online group meditations with sometimes 60, 70, 100,000 people meditating together, creating
Yeah.
shift in the world. This is already happening. And I think Tony Nader's intuition to have this course at this time, it was really, really spot on. I haven't even listened to Tony Nader's talk, but he's the head of the TM organization. And, you know, that he was like, look, we haven't created world peace and we have to work with other spiritual organizations. And this is the heart of it for me. It's like, we literally all have to work together. If we're going to create world peace, we can't, you know, sit on our
Exactly.
high horses. We need to get off the high horses.
Yeah.
Embrace
Absolutely.
that there's a lot of different ways and different things that we can do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't have to be going to India or Fairfield. It can be like there's so much to be done, and people just need to figure out what their part is and just do it. And I'm just figuring that out for me too. You know, I didn't know if my part was to go to India. I would have much rather in my world gone to Peru show where it's like silent and very silent and very like pristine, and I feel very taken care of there. It's like I step into my like princely mansion and everything's cared for and
It's so beautiful. Like thinking
nice.
back to being in the mountains of the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina when I was on Mother Divine, which is similar to like the West Virginia campus, I think. And
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's, ooh, that is so, it's so sublime. And even the Ideal Life campus, when I went back to Fairfield in 2019, when I first met you, actually, that was 2018. But I spent a few months just meditating on that campus and I had phenomenal experiences. There's so much really out there, amazing stuff. And I'm really grateful for many years of having access to those tools.
Yeah. Absolutely. Me too.
Are you going to be in a tent in India?
Yes, I'll be in a Swiss cottage tent.
Really?
Yeah, really. I've camped a lot. So I've slept in those kind of tents. I don't know that I've ever slept in this kind of a tent. So this will be a first time.
Cool. Well, I hope you have a great trip and the food is good and it's easy and as comfortable as it can be. And think about it like going to Burning Man. This is the
Yeah.
thing. Burning Man festivals that routinely gather 100,000 more, you know, what I think it was like 70,000 Burning Man, I'm not sure. But it's a lot. It's a lot of people that get together to have
Yeah.
fun and listen to music and you know, party all weekend. Like there's no reason that we can't live in a world where we can gather 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people
Yeah.
and have and jam for a weekend and meditate. And you know, I mean, the ecstatic dance festivals that I've been to, I think are like the closest thing that I can envision for something like that. But I mean, there's so many big things happening all the time. So
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. The Burning Man of TM or any meditation.
I used to look at property when I taught meditation in Los Angeles. I used to go down to places. Temecula one, for example, these people had this property that was amazing. I was like, to have a music festival here that also had yogic flying tents. Can you imagine how dope that would be?
That would be.
It'd be so dope.
We'll get
Ugh.
there.
All right, I'm on the cheapskate, not pro Zoom account. It's about to run out in a minute. I think we
Oh, I
covered all
see that.
ground.
I see
Huh?
that.
Yeah.
You know, we'll figure out a way to connect with you when we're in India, I'll see if I can gather a few troops while we're eating or something,
That'd be amazing.
and we'll catch you there.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good trip. Safe
Thanks,
travels.
Aaron.
All that
Hold
good
it
stuff.
down. Hold it down.
I'll hold it down. I'll be just spreading the message of joy and love through the universe with you guys.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Thank you. We'll ride that wave. All right,
Yeah.
talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon. Bye-bye.